This is RG3 on his new tell-all book that is going to reveal some of the biggest secrets of the Washington football team. Let's take a listen.
What's up, guys? I'm so excited to announce that I wrote a book, and it's coming out in August 2022, titled Surviving Washington. Now, every experience that I've ever had has made me a better husband, a better father, and a better player. But I want you to take this journey with me as I walk you through one of the most dysfunctional franchises in all of sports. I'm going to tell you the truth about what happened in that playoff game in 2012 against Seattle. I'm going to detail the medical mismanagement that I received during my time in Washington. I'm going to open your eyes to the sexual harassment that permeated the walls of that building and give you a deep dive into a power struggle between one of the most powerful coaches in all of sports and an owner that many of you want gone. They say the truth will set you free. So here it is, unfiltered. Pre-order now.
RG3 did one hell of a job selling me that book. I cannot wait to buy it. I cannot wait to read it. So first of all, kudos to RG3 for the amount of just shameless self-promotion there. It is something that I have at this point mastered, and I'm glad that he has as well. But getting to the subject of this new tell-all book that he's going to be writing about the Washington football team, the franchise that he once played for, he was the second overall pick for, he was seen as the franchise moving forward for, he's going to talk about everything that went wrong. He's going to talk about apparently what happened during during that playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks in 2012 when he got injured and he was never the same player after that. And he's going to talk about the power struggle, and which we kind of know of. Mike Shanahan came out a few years ago, and I remember he did this interview with Undisputed on Skip and Shannon's show, and he talked about, very, very candidly as well, about how difficult it was for him as a coach, just doing his job with Dan Snyder and everyone else in the front office, kind of trying to meddle with his coaching ability, with his coaching style. So we kind of know that part of the story. Robert Griffin has talked slightly about what happened there, but it seems like he's going to be going way more in depth than anything, just that. He's going to be talking about not only the power struggle between Shanahan and Snyder in the front office, but he's also going to be talking about remember that report from the New York or Washington Post that came out last year about the sexual assault allegations, the culture of the Washington football team that Bruce Allen once said was actually damn good. What a joke. So the fact that you have RG3 talking about this, I think it's going to just mean more heat on this team, rightfully so, because they are owned by arguably one of the worst owners in professional sports in Dan Snyder. That is my opinion. That just happens to be pretty true, in my opinion. But it's going to be interesting to read because we know about this team. It has been a dumpster fire. When you think about dumpster fire franchises, this is what comes up. The Washington football team. They have a lot of really great players, and unfortunately, the representation of the team has little to nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with the people at the top. It has to do with Dan Snyder. It has to do with Bruce Allen. It has to do with every single person who was part of that damn good culture. Someone prominent needs to speak out about it and give a voice to this dysfunction so we can finally put an end to one of the saddest and most disgraceful stories in pro football. And that has been, you could say even before that, but the past 20 years, a lot of the things we've seen from Washington and the ownership group and the front office of Washington have been just terrible representations for the league and the sport of professional football. I'm talking about the allegations. I'm talking about the name. I'm talking about the defense of the name. I'm talking about the lengths that specific people went to defend something that was a racist name, that everyone knew was a racist name, that if you went back in time George Marshall, I believe, was the owner who came up with the name, the team name. You went back in time and you talked to this person. This is someone who was a vehement racist. The Washington football team were the last team to integrate black players into football. It took them until 1969 to do that, people. And we're not supposed to believe that this team is rooted in a history of hatred and bigotry and racism and every other terrible thing, honestly, you can throw under the sun. Come on. I'm happy RG3 is giving a voice to it. I'm happy that we're still talking about it because it deserves to be talked about until there is substantive, I should say, change. There needs to be substantive change in Washington. And I'm not just talking about there needs to be change as far as ownership. I'm talking about there needs to be a lot of change. The stadium sucks. As someone who's lived in D.C., the location of the stadium is less than adequate for any real person from D.C. to get to. It's easier to get from a train, from public transportation. It's easier to get from inside Washington to Baltimore to go to a Ravens game than it is to go from D.C. to Landover, Maryland to see a Washington football team game. Part of that is because you have to transfer lines. The other part of that is the fact that you have to walk for like 20, 30 minutes when you get off the metro to the stadium. Who are you appealing to? Not the people you try to appeal to or that you say you appeal to. You're not appealing to people who live in the city. You're appealing to suburbanites who don't want to go to your games because I'm looking at tickets right now. Tickets are like $13. Spend more money getting to the game than I would actually spending to get in. That's a problem. It's a major problem, man. And until they functionally change, like just substantively change everything about this team, low ticket sales, former players speaking out, former employees, rightfully so, speaking out, and all the above, everything else, it shouldn't stop. Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.